I'm Haley Taylor, and you're listening to the Rough Draft Diaries.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
It's that time of year again. It's the Rough Draft Diaries Thanksgiving special, where I meet with a local chef as they share a new take on a classic dish or maybe a secret family recipe. Now, the song you just heard is a big clue for what we're making today, but I'll let Erika explain all that because she is the chef for this year's special. That's Erika Rapp from Registry Bistro in downtown Toledo.
Sure. So today I am showing you my roasted chestnut soup. And this is a dish that I make for my family during the holidays, whether it's for Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's a really simple dish that the ingredients really speak for themselves, but they're fantastic. So it's complementing each other.
Although each ingredient does complement the other, you can easily make this recipe vegetarian, dairy-free, or vegan-friendly. But first, let's go over the basic ingredient list. You'll need 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter, half a cup of chopped onion, 4 crushed garlic cloves, a bunch of fresh thyme, 1 bay leaf, 6 cups of low-sodium chicken broth, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, half a cup of heavy cream, salt and pepper, and of course, 1 pound of roasted and peeled chestnuts, which is where we're going to start with roasting chestnuts.
The problem, or the challenge, not the problem, but the challenge with chestnuts is that they can be a bit tricky to roast if you're not familiar with how to do it. After I figured out the method, the rest of it's really simple. So the biggest thing is that before you roast them, you need to let the steam go somewhere. So you need to make a slit in the shell.
Erika has an actual chestnut knife, but if you don't have that, you can just use a paring knife. You can make 1 slit on the round side of the chestnut or make an X.
So once these are all sliced and you make little slits in all of the shells, then we're just going to put them on a sheet pan and put them in the oven and roast them until they split. It takes about 20 minutes.
If this is your first time roasting chestnuts, Erika suggests setting the oven at 325. You can go higher, it's just you might get what Erika calls chestnut shrapnel. That's when the chestnuts pop because the steam is caught inside the shell. So start at 325. You can check it every 10 minutes or so if you're nervous. But the chestnuts are done when the shell starts to peel away from the nut inside. Once they've cooled, you can peel them, set aside the chestnuts, and then get started on the base for the soup.
So I have onions. Yep, I have about 1 small onion diced.
And these onions are cooking in a saucepan over low heat with about 3 tablespoons of melted butter. But you can easily use olive oil or coconut oil.
And you don't have to worry about your knife skills because you're going to puree this. So we're just going to let it sweat. So when you sweat onions, that means that you want them to get translucent, but you don't want them to caramelize. I don't add my garlic when I'm sweating my onions in the beginning. I wait till they're almost done because garlic can be kind of temperamental. Once you smell the garlic, it's good.
It's ready.
Yeah. So we're going to throw in the chestnuts, and I'm going to top it with chicken. No, this is chicken broth that I'm working with.
So in the saucepan, the onions have become translucent. You can smell the garlic, you add the chestnuts, and you add your chicken broth. Now, if you are vegetarian or vegan, you can add vegetable broth. But whatever broth you get, make sure it's low sodium so you can control how much salt you want to add to the dish later.
So next, I throw in my aromatics. I have a bundle of thyme that I tie together with butcher's twine so I don't have to fish them out before I do anything. I can easily pluck it out of there. And then a bay leaf. And then just put a lid on it and let it cook for about 45 minutes at the minimum.
And again, this is over a low heat. So 45 minutes later,
the broth starts to get kind of a muddy color, and that means that your chestnuts are starting to fall apart.
Now it's time to puree this whole mixture that has been stewing for 45 minutes in the blender.
So I'm just going to go ahead and pour this all in.
You want to blend until it's completely smooth.
Okay. So after I blend it, I put it back on the stove. So at this point, I'm going to season this with salt and pepper. I want to taste it and see where we're at. I need to grab it.
After you salt and pepper to your liking, you add the Worcestershire sauce. Now, Erika let me taste the soup at this point, and it tastes pretty good. You can actually be finished with the recipe if you wanted to, but there are a few extra steps if you want to just up the ante on your soup. So you remember the 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter that we needed? 3 of the tablespoons were used to sweat the onions and garlic. The other 3 tablespoons, Erika adds cold into the soup, and they slowly melt into the soup, which is sitting on low heat on the stovetop.
And that really gives it that velvety texture. Next, we're gonna make some savory cream. Okay, so I have some cream, some just plain heavy cream in a bowl. We're just gonna whip this up. And I don't like whipping it to a steep peak. I like to whip it slightly below steep.
So you whip the cream until you see ribbons. Then you salt and pepper the cream and you add it into the bottom of the serving bowl.
So you just really pile it.
Just pile it on the bottom, exactly.
Nice.
And then when it's time,
You just add the warm soup on top of the cream that's sitting in the bottom of the serving bowl.
It's funny, it does kind of look like a cappuccino or like a hot chocolate.
And this is still a little bit thick, but it'll melt more, and it'll just be a nice, really pretty foam on top.
And then for a garnish, you can add some chopped chives.
Oh, it's so pretty with the greens. That's just a little bit of chives.
Little chives, yeah.
Now again, if you're dairy sensitive, you can leave the cream out of the recipe. Whether you add the cream on top or not, the recipe is done and it's ready to serve, and most importantly, it's ready to eat.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It's done.
That's so good too.
Excellent.
And there you have it. That's another year of the Rough Draft Diaries Thanksgiving special. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, and that you stay tuned for the Rough Draft Diaries here on FM 91.